Go for it.
So just the fact that this is episode 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, 2.5.
Right? 2.2.
2.2, 2.2.
New and
No, we'll say
improved.
2.1.
Yeah. The mic quit working
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah, we had,
Wasn't working.
Was it like damn near half hour?
Half an hour,
We were
for
talking
sure.
about a half hour, and
We had good stuff.
we were talking
back
about
and forth.
good shit too. And like half hour worth of record time,
The
I just finished
game.
I just ended up having to nuke. I'm so pissed. Oh well.
Ninja
See,
Jajamaru.
This is the kind of like tech bullshit we're gonna have to like constantly deal with on a week by week basis. Quite literally every week there's something. And
Something
it's
different.
never
Something
the same
unique.
thing.
Yep.
Constantly. But anyways, episode 2 ZBGB's podcast. Zethus,
Take 2. Bubbazoom.
Bubbazoom.
Yeah.
That's my man, Bubbazoom. All right. So what we were talking about before we realized that
I want to watch it again.
yeah, oh absolutely. Is Bubbazoom was telling me about the game he was chipping away at.
The one that didn't exist from
One
the
that
Microplay
didn't
Associate.
that didn't exist. And yeah, it was this guy here. That intro, so in like
Here, make put that maximum.
I saw a meme earlier today that was like very much on point and be like it was man. Actually here. I'll show you. I'll just show you because it's on Instagram.
Oh, here's the good part. I love that text.
That's yeah. Like, this is like my third time seeing it now, but like dude,
and the
it's so good.
comparison of that I will take full credit for that it looks like a bowling alley ad when you get the turkey, when you get the strike.
Yeah,
The
that's right.
animation looks like that.
The animation looks exactly like
Yeah.
the turkey for bowling. Like
Strike,
This-
you know?
I love this intro. Like I love the music. It's so good. Here, I'm gonna-
Yeah, that's good. 1996, I
As
think.
if it's 96, dude. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I have to get you VLC, dude. This is horrendous. What, no full screen? Okay, fine, whatever.
In the
Yeah, I'm getting you
bottom right
VLC.
there.
Oh, down.
More. Right above the time. There's the to the right.
To fit. Nah.
Right beside that.
Yeah, I need to get you VLC. VLC is better.
I go to the options first, remember?
Because would you end up doing just cranking it on to the lowest difficulty, or
I think, no, I went to see if there was an easy difficulty, and I don't think there was. Just normal, so I had to stick to that. Oh, sorry, 97, I'm mistaken.
So the meme I was showing him was when she's in the other room waiting for you to apologize and she hears the PlayStation beep. That's what I'm reminded of when I see this.
Oh, yeah.
See, and we were talking about this earlier too. That part there, that music or that little jingle before gameplay started, I recognize and I don't know where. And I'm pretty sure it's either came from either Nintendo version or
Well, maybe I'll pull out
I don't
the original NES one later and find out if it's the same tune.
like for some reason I
Must be.
recognized that little jingle there, and it almost made me think that like I may have played the franchise at
See,
one
it's
point.
unlocking memories.
I'm not 100% sure. It's
Something
just one
you
of those
don't
things
remember.
I recognize the sound, and it's just like, why
Yeah.
do I recognize the sound? But yeah, man, I would play the hell out of it. I would even now. I would play this. Like, why the hell not? Exactly as
Yeah,
you
why
described.
not?
Do you like with Sonic 2, like the 3D? The 3D.
Yeah, Sonic 2, Sonic 3. Sonic 2, you moved straight
Yeah,
through.
yeah,
and
yeah,
3
it
was
was-
like the really 3D. But yeah,
Yeah, for those bonus.
I don't know. I
levels and
found it
bonus rings.
kind of, maybe I'm out to lunch, but kind of like Asteroids in the way
See,
of
I
like
thought
you're
you
moving
cheesed it
back and
there.
forth. No, that's the game. That's the. See? Oh,
Yeah, you can hide so
Yeah.
much shit in these, man.
they could. Didn't have the technology. There's a few little hidden things here though. Like if you kind of go out of your way in some levels, there's a classic minecart level where you're going through.
Kind of like Donkey Kong Country?
Yeah, but 3D. PlayStation and like this direction will give you a collectible kind of thing.
Here. This is what we were talking about. Like this is like in the bowling alley where you had like the turkey
bowling pin.
Where you have like where it shows the animation for turkey, whatever. That's what these are.
Yeah.
Bowling would be way more interesting if they had that. Yeah, I recognize that jingle. I recognize it. But then again, it's so
from
like
Pac-Man. It's kind of the 8-bit sound. It could be from anything.
It could be from so many different sources that it could have just be something that it was yoinked from something that I played in the past.
Maybe one of these days we'll find out.
Maybe
we'll unlock it. We can talk about it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's damn good footage though. I like that.
Yeah. Lots more where that came from. Trying to chronicle my gaming experiences.
I definitely, because like as soon as I decide to play ActRaiser Renaissance, like that's the remake for the first ActRaiser, I'm gonna record the whole thing. And like I'm still on the fence about the whole notion of like wanting to stream again and whatnot. I thought about it, but it's like, because essentially that would be like my third attempt at trying to stream, and it's not to say that I don't think I would have the chops for it, because like I think at my peak in terms of viewership, I think there was a couple of weeks where I was averaging about like 35 people. Like bots or not, I'm not 100% sure, but it's just like it wasn't too bad. Like I had an active enough chat where I always had at least like a half dozen people talking and whatnot. I was constantly engaged with people, and I liked that aspect. But there's a lot of, I don't know. I'm still not convincing. I'm still not convinced for me whether that's something I want to try and pursue, even though that's another part of the creative itch that's really getting to me. But for the time being, I'm finding that itch being fulfilled just doing this with you. And I find like that I'm not as inclined to be pulled into back into the streaming world to try and make a real actual fucking go of it, because this is kind of supplementing it.
Yeah.
In terms of like that creative itch. And I've been finding a lot of practical use in terms of like relearning how to go through the editing process again. What it takes to drive engagement. Next, like this episode is going to be me really focusing on and refining, improving the editing process, as well as like producing clips and whatnot for things like TikTok, Instagram, whenever I can get around to actually having an account that I will actually work on it. Hell, even Twitter to a degree, because I'll use that for your communication. Oh yeah, X. And then what's funny is like, since we're talking about, I mentioned TikTok, let's fucking talk about that ban real quick. Yeah. Because like, here's the thing.
I don't know when that'll happen. Like, I don't get it. Like the bill passed.
Allegedly, Biden was supposed to sign it into law yesterday, whether he did or not. I'm not sure, because it passed Congress.
There was aid they included in the bill. Oh, we'll give you aid for Ukraine.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it all contained.
But that was the
because I know that like the actual ban, or the ban, or whatever you want to call it, it was slipped into that bill.
Yes,
it wasn't
exactly.
the bill directed specifically at it. It was just kind of just added
strategy,
into it. So with that being said, honestly, the only thing that's really going to come from that, in my opinion, is VPN sales are going to go through the fucking roof. Like straight up. Like people, especially when it comes to TikTok, people will always find a way to get around it, regardless of whether it's banned or not. Yeah. Like, who cares? It's like the fact that politicians are putting so much effort into a digital platform that's like, I shouldn't say that's consumed and produced mostly by kids. That would actually, that's very false, because like the average adult user base is pretty high from what I understand. And especially from like a marketing perspective, more and more businesses are getting on top of that. And I don't know, in my opinion, TikTok is a good, healthy way for younger people to have options. Yeah. And that, I think that
people
is
make their living off of it too. That's going to affect people.
Yeah. I think
number of people.
like options in terms of like not only the opportunity to create, because I think any young person that is wanting to go on a creative endeavor should be very much encouraged for it, as long as it's not at the detriment of like their health or the people around them. But with that being said, having like healthy encouragement and having a good outlet to do so on. Don't get me wrong, social media is one of those things where I kind of do agree that it's one of those things that should definitely be restricted to like kind of like drinking, 18 years old.
Should be 18, right? I agree.
Like I do agree.
Maybe that's the boomer in me. I don't know.
At the same time, I would not want to deprive people that are younger than 18 years old of a creative opportunity that I sure as hell didn't have, that I wish I had. In a way I did, I just kind of squandered it.
We could just make a youth version of it, like Facebook Kids.
I don't know.
You know,
whatever the solution
really
is,
wanted.
But I don't think like just trying to like going around just banning applications without any real like, I don't know. They claim security reasons. Yeah,
China.
They just claim like security reasons for the most part. But my biggest thing is that they're doing it for whatever their perceived reasons are. But at the same time, they're still allowing companies that have huge data breaches to run completely unchecked.
The conspiracy is that they're banning it so the Zoomers can't spread the word about voting, because there's such a big voting block against because Trump doesn't want them to vote, right? Which I wouldn't put it past Donald Trump, though.
I fucking hate politics. Fuck politics.
It's that, I know it's
but
all
like
it
at
is.
the same time, it's like when you're getting to like the creative spaces, like this affects like our culture, like our nerd culture when it comes to like gaming, anime, that kind of stuff, because these are just outlets for those opportunities. Don't get me wrong, there's with any tool there's bad shit, no matter what. Like it's just a matter of the arbiters of these applications and platforms just need to be more proactive with doing their due diligence to keep the bad actors out and actually like managing their applications like an actual company and not the way it is now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love and I hate social media on so many levels. I don't want to sound like a boomer being like, oh, bad social media. It's like, fuck that, man. It's because like, I think social media has been like profoundly good and bad.
It's been ruined by ads. But that's all it is now.
I'm always want to be pragmatic and embrace technological evolutions, which includes the mediums in which humans use to engage with each other. Like there's a lot of value that can come from it. Like whether I don't know, like at the same time, like with anything else, it has to be done in just moderation. Like that's why I'm not, even though this is a brand new podcast, and the pragmatic thing to do is to like be on every platform making like 10, 15, 20, 30 posts like every day, trying to blast out our one episode in as many places as possible. Don't get me wrong, I want the traction, but at the same time, I want the engagement to come on a more gradual, like I want to be a drip fed it, because I don't want to be overwhelmed way too hard. Because like we were
cool though.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Like the viewership and like the engagement numbers would be really cool to see, but at the same time, I want to be drip fed the analytics at a slow rate. Because the one thing that I always fear when it comes to anything, either creative, anything in business, is growing too fast. Even when I was streaming, that was a legit fear of mine, not out of any ego being like, I'm going to be the next best fucking streamer. I'm this charismatic
PewDiePie.
Or like I'm this like eccentric, outspoken kind of person, whatever. I've never had like that ego in me, but I always had that potential fear of, what if I get hit with like 1,000-2,000 people out of nowhere? And I would like, it's like no different than going to the gym. You think I'm going to be able to hit the bench and be able to push 250 pounds right now? Absolutely not. I would hurt myself very badly if I were to try and attempt that right now, just because I haven't been a gym rat in a very long time. when it comes to content creation and trying to essentially farm engagement, for lack of a better term, is that something that me personally, I want to drip fed. So like when we made our first episode, like when I was showing you the analytics, it's like, you're like, yeah, 14 views. And I'm like sitting there going, no, I wanted that to be under 10. I wanted that number to be under 10. That wasn't us.
That's still
like, don't get
the
me
same.
wrong. It's like, it's kind of weird why my brain was kind of like, yay, but no, too fast. Like, even though like 2 or 3 of those views would have been us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know why my brain does that, because I was like, oh my God, that's 11 people. That's 11 random viewers. Like that might, it's like not to self-sabotage, is because I want to get the reps in. I want to get the experience in.
Yeah.
And like, I want to slowly build and actually build a portfolio and a, I guess, enhance my repertoire.
Yeah.
That's all. That's, yeah, I don't know how that got on that tangent, but
there you go.
But that's, yeah, bants, rants, tangents, and lore. That's kind of like the philosophy of our podcast. And that's kind of what I put on the YouTube banner as well. Bants, rants, tangents.
Yeah, I saw
lore.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how I came up with that, but I like it. But that's what happens because of the free flow nature of this. Anyways, we do have a list of things that we are trying to, like I said, this is the second attempt today because he was dealing with mic issues, which your mic still works, right? Okay, yeah, it still works. Holy shit. See, like, oh my God, dude, seriously, 35 minutes of like good conversation that I thought was, everything was working too. Oh, I'm so mad. And I had to scrub the whole thing. Oh my goodness.
Nintendo.
So,
all that.
No BlizzCon
X-Men
this year.
97. Yeah.
So, have you ever been to BlizzCon?
No, but I've seen it and followed it, and they get, big, like Weird Al, Yeah, I know about it, but I've never gone. A friend of mine used to go all the time, every year.
A buddy,
he'd go. Yeah,
my one buddy John, he goes every year. He goes as many times as he can. Yeah, he was there for some of the big moments too, and like the Diablo Immortal announcement. He was. I think he was there for that.
Terrible.
Don't you guys have phones? Oh my God, that was so bad. Anyways,
awful. I'm just stuck in that. I remember watching that.
If given the opportunity, would you go to BlizzCon?
Probably. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, okay. I think so.
Even though BlizzCon is notoriously like a WoW event,
but it's a game, like it's iconic though. It's a big deal. It's like an E3. Like you would go
if E3 was around anymore.
If E3 was around anymore. But you'd go and you'd play these games, and yeah, they may not be yours, but you saw like new technology and you saw new stuff. Yeah, BlizzCon would be sweet. They get musicians.
Oh yeah. Like I remember the one year they actually had Metallica there. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's not just like going to the Calgary Comic Expo. This is like an event.
I think that's actually coming up.
It's on right now.
Oh, it's on right now. Oh shoot. Okay.
Friend of mine sent me some pictures.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
One of these days I will want to, like, I haven't done any convention. Like I haven't done conventions at all. Oh, you've like, what other conventions have you all done other than Comic-Con?
Just the Calgary.
Just the Calgary one?
And I'm not putting it down. I've outgrown it. And I don't mean that rudely. My life's changed. I have kids now and everything like that. So
would you take your kids to Comic-Con?
I think I would. I would take him.
Okay.
Both of them.
Yeah.
She's not old enough, but yeah. I think I would. And I actually had that thought today about taking him. He's not really into that stuff, but there's Fortnite stuff.
Oh yeah.
He'd enjoy that.
You've been plugging
the costumes.
Fortnite with your boy too.
Yeah.
You showed me that you want a duo with him. And that was with the build mode when you won that duo?
It must have been, because the last guy we killed was flipping out, building stuff,
And you just totally tripped him out?
Yeah, there's a few of that. So it must have been build. But I think there's bots in the game too, but there was definitely real people, because you can tell. Because I've seen the bots, they're just they're not doing anything. They're standing there play shooting. So Yeah, we won our first game as a duo.
That's pretty sweet. Did you get any of that recorded?
No.
Bummer.
I know. I should have.
Oh, well, hindsight, right? But at least you have the memory to be able to tell the story.
It and I'll never win again.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, as soon as you hit record, you're just like, no, we'll just get it farmed.
We'll
at
crash
that point.
the computer, fry it. No, but yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah, it's Fortnite has never been my jam. Like I've never. It was always one of those games that I always found more enjoyment watching than I ever would play. And it's third person like shooters and whatnot, like, they're just not my kind of game. Especially like in PvP environments. I know like this is where a lot of like last week's stuff like will come back because like I just don't do PvP crap. I just don't at all. Anything remotely.
I typically don't either. It makes me mad. You know, I get too frustrated with online things like playing card games.
When you're doing with your kid though, you have to kind of like keep everything kind of
it's
under
easy
wraps.
when I'm playing with him. Yeah. I just laugh it off and it's like, but why can't I do that when I'm just playing? You know, why do I? You know, but yeah, it is fun to watch too. Have it on, like
especially the pros. Watching pros is like trippy.
Oh yeah, he hasn't even discovered pro YouTubers yet.
Oh,
I hope he doesn't with Fortnite,
because like they different animal when you get into like competitive Fortnite, especially with build mode.
Yeah,
that like watching some I can't name anyone in particular because the gameplay, because I'm always like fixated on the gameplay and just seeing how unbelievably fast people can be, and I'm just mind boggled.
It doesn't make sense to me. No, and I don't know if I want him watching people like that too, because I don't want that really
a comparison.
Yeah, that too, and just that cutting edge, like, you know, games aren't fun like right from the get go.
Funny you mentioned that. Cool. Actually, is actually I'll have to link you over a video. This one content creator is a YouTuber. His name's Darth Microtransactions, Dark DM. I think he's still currently living up in Alaska. But anyways,
good username.
Yeah, and he just released a video, I think it was today, where he was essentially talking about that very notion about how back in the day, weird as it sounds, because he is about our age. I think he's about back in the day. I think he's about 3 or 4 years younger than us.
Back in the day.
He can easily call back and say, when we played Super Nintendo back in the day, what would happen is that you would play the game and you'd play it, beat it, finish it, enjoy it, done. Now people are essentially saying, oh yeah, you see, there's a term that hasn't been touched in a long time. It's rap. Anyways, but his point was that nowadays, and he even says that content creators and like YouTubers and Twitch streamers are a big part of it, is that most games are essentially researched and figured out before they're even released. Like that kind of, whether it be because of early access, and then the guides that come out as a result of that, just the easy access to information, just because of the access to information on the internet that we have now in comparison to what we did, if at all, in the 90s.
A few websites.
Exactly. Yeah, and he was just emphasizing the importance of enjoying a game and being done with it, and not to seek that forever game, because a forever game should never exist.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, I'm totally down with game preservation, but I don't think it's healthy to have a forever game, and I don't think it's healthy to be seeking a forever game either.
Everything that was retail released should just be forever, you know? Like, yeah, we were saying some of these games won't be able to ever be played again.
Yep. And especially especially when you get in like Ubisoft and like Nintendo being like greedy and grimy.
Yeah, Nintendo selling Wii U games for $80 still. Yeah, they're Switch versions, sure. But $89.99 for Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. That was for the Wii U. I don't know. I don't know about that.
No way, dude. That's way. That's madness.
People do it.
Yeah, well, just like you do with Apple stuff, right?
That's the system. You have the money.
All right. The BlizzCon, yeah. Honestly, I would love to go to BlizzCon. Like, just I'd like to go to BlizzCon, just experience. I don't know why I got back onto BlizzCon, because I'm reading my notes here, and yeah, I'm just trying to chip away at it a little bit now. So yeah, it looks like started season 4 of Dragonflight yesterday. Or actually not on Tuesday is when I started season 4. Yesterday was our first raid night in this season. And dude, I cannot fucking explain to you how nice it was to just walk into an instance, you chill, we're having a good time, and you're killing bosses. You're seeing multiple bosses in a night.
It sounds like you're having fun.
It's almost like we're actually like killing stuff. Having fun is kind of a stretch because like just the nature of like just repeating the same raids that we've already done for the past that we've already done. Yeah. Right. Season 4 is like essentially is a wrap up like fun season. There's no new raid. There's no new raid other than like they're just rehashing the ones and they're calling them Awakened where they're on a weekly rotation. Yeah. But either way, we went in yesterday and raid, went into normal, fucking just like cleared it, just one shot everything, just boop, 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 got it all through. Then we jumped into heroic, and when did we finally wipe? I think Dathia wiped us.
Then the wall begins in your brain. Luckily, barely had time off, and then it's like, oh.
Luckily, we're not going to be doing mythic straight up progression or anything. We're literally just going to be just taking it really light, only killing like the easy mythic bosses. We're not going to kill any mythic end bosses.
The muscles before
we're just like, you're going to be taking it really easy. It's going to be like fairly casual, but I'm still hoping to have like a 20-man roster. Oh man, we lost our main tank too. He's done.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's done.
3 people.
Yeah, this was his last year. He's wrapped up.
Retired.
Yeah, I think he might be hanging up like for good by the sounds of it. Yeah, which sucks too because he was our Death Knight main tank since I joined the guild, and this has only been for like last two and a bit years now. And yeah, he's been like the tank, and he was a god. He was a good tank. But yeah, he hung up his hat. He called it quits. He's done for the rest of the. I'm not sure if he's gonna be done for the rest of this expansion, or if he's even going to come back next expansion. Not sure, but he's definitely done for the rest of this expansion for sure. Which sucks because he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's super smart, and he was always like just a blast to have in the group. Yeah. So I'm going to miss having that guy around. But either way, the one thing that I do, even though like season 4 is very, very lackluster, there's nothing really too exciting that's really happening other than like you're just farming for a shit ton of like transmog pieces.
Yeah, the end game is transmog.
But the one thing that I think it's just because of wipe fatigue from Farak, from getting farmed by Farak for 430 some odd pulls, that it felt nice to actually have a gear chase again. Like kind of have your gear kind of get reset.
Yeah.
And to chase for gear again and actually killing multiple bosses in a night and not staring at the same asshole for 3 hours. Like finally I got to a point where I was kind of like, okay, I think I remember why I raid and why I kind of play the way that I do. Is like when you're getting into multiple end bosses that take multiple hundreds of pulls, like a T-Swift prior to that was 360 something pulls. So between the second last boss and the last boss, that's almost 800 pulls.
Like, and how long does each one take? 5 minutes? They're like about per wipe, I guess. What's the average?
Actually, what's kind of interesting is I almost want to say that the wipe time is almost about even because the fight length is about the same.
Okay.
So I think Farak is a little bit longer, just because he has one intermission more than T-Swift does. So I think his runs the clock for, I think, about almost 45 seconds to a minute longer, if memory serves.
Okay.
But overall, I think the amount of times in which that we wiped was about the same. Because there's a lot of one-shots that just fry the whole raid on both bosses, so it didn't really matter. So either way, I think because of wipe fatigue and having the reset happen and then getting back into it and actually seeing multiple bosses in a night was like that refresh where I was like, finally, we're like, that's happening. Like something other than just like
400 wipes over weeks. One guy was dreaming about it.
Yeah, like just
that's how intense.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, the fact that my raid lead was like straight dreaming about raiding. Yeah, I'm just
I was thinking about that the other day. Like that it was so intense that he dreamt about it.
weird shit
about looting the boss.
Yeah, about me getting the
Like
loot
that's
on
how
that too.
how into it.
Yeah, especially for him,
That's
I can understand
intense.
because he does everything for our raid, like absolutely everything. I can't emphasize that enough. And
It's all consuming.
very
That's all
much
you
so.
think about.
It's very much a thankless job, and like there's no real benefit to raid leading at all. It's a miserable job, and for some reason he sticks through it, like through thick and thin. He just does the whole thing, top to bottom.
Well, like when you're at work, you'd be thinking about it.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
Like it's
I guarantee
never
you.
leaves your thoughts, not even your dreams. That's
The fact that it doesn't even leave, the fact that it's
That's
like stays in his
stressful.
dream is crazy. But like I get it to a degree. I get it because like to say that I've never dreamt about games that I've played would be a complete lie.
oh no, but just with how bashing your head against the brick wall that is, and you're really stressed.
Fucking
So when they're in your dreams in that way, because they're stressing you out, that's
that explains my dream of Diablo. Then
yeah. Were you in the same view as, or were you like
I was just
first
playing
person?
I was just
you
straight
were
playing
it.
Yeah, I was just like while I was in my dream, I was just playing it. But and I think was D3 or D4? D3. Yeah, D3. Because I was playing with the wife and a buddy of mine, and we were sinking like I was sinking mad hours into it, and there was a couple overnighters that I ended up doing, and then when I finally crashed, that's when I started having like vivid dreams about playing the game and the game farming me and shit, and yeah.
Did you ever make money off the Real Money Auction House?
No, that
when it came out,
I didn't.
That was garbage,
man.
When it launched,
That
what a
was
bad launch.
oh, I've heard all the stories about D3 launch. No, I didn't start playing D3 until like well after Reaper Souls.
Oh, so
like
when it was good.
Well after. Yeah. I was like late to the party on that.
That was the first big kind of Blizzard disappointment.
It looked really good, but yeah, just totally shit the bed in every other way.
But that's where the decline started. When were they bought? Does it match up?
I can't remember. I think it was like 2006, 7. I can't remember the exact year that Activision bought it. I don't know.
But 2006, Diablo 2 or Diablo 3 was 2012.
Yeah. Something like that. I can't remember the exact
That was
date.
probably the first big game.
This is where I suck when it comes to dates, when it comes to like historically important information like that. But at the same time, it has such a negative connotation that I don't want to embed that in my memory, because it's sad, because that was like the death of Blizzard as we know it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were so good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
StarCraft Ghost, where are you?
Oh man. So I don't know. I think I've told you this story when it came to StarCraft, now that you mention it. So back when I was living out in that small town out in Cold, that was like 4,300 people. This is before cable internet was out there. So we were still on 56K modem. It was right around the time that StarCraft, I think, was either already out or was already in beta.
Yeah. Oh, the first one.
Yeah, the first one, right? And this is like, this is before Brood War was even a thing. Like this is like first OG, like first time StarCraft coming out. And so a buddy of mine got his hands on the trial. Yeah, it was the trial demo where you could only play as Terran and you could only play one map.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, right. And I remember my friends and I, what we would always do is we'd always, remember those old rules, like no rush for 10, 15 minutes.
And
like
you'd have
that
it
kind
in
of thing. And then it'd be like four players free for all, but you're actually partnered up with your buddy that's in like the next room.
Yeah, no, was worse because I don't know, when I was younger, I didn't think, oh, maybe it's just someone who wants to Zerg rush, wanting people that don't know how to defend against a Zerg rush.
We were so shitty when it came to playing online against like people in the trials and whatnot. We'd only play against people that had a win-loss ranking under 10 or under 15. It was one of those two numbers. And if we tried being cheeky, where it'd be like, no rush, and then we try and rush and we fail and we just totally fuck ourselves over, we immediately disconnect ourselves and we'd give ourselves a disconnect ratio instead.
And it would make you mad. I have a story for that. Let me finish this part, because because our win-loss DC ratio was unhinged. We'd have something like 12 wins, 15 losses, and like 36 disconnects, because because we were on 56k modem. All we would have to do is yeah, exactly.
It'd be nothing to it. And sometimes we were legit disconnects because like you just legit lag out, because it was new technology and it was still like chugging along really hard back then in terms of like playing online against other people. And so sometimes it was legit disconnects. But yeah, if we tried pulling a fast one and we lost, we just disconnected ourselves. It just took the DC hit.
Yeah, but it's still just so maddening. So I don't know if I've told you this before. Me and my friend were playing, and we did one of those games, 1v1v1.
Yep.
But really,
you're 2 versus whatever. Yeah.
So we're doing that, and Zerg had an ability, like a Hive Lord. You could take over any unit. Yep. It was Brood War.
It was just
and so you take over like a Protoss peasant, whatever they were called. And then you can build a Protoss. And your resources go up too, so you can have 2 races.
Yep.
So we did that. So we had 3 kind of armies going, and we go up against this guy. And we're like, and he long story short, he beats us, and he wrote
like two versus ones.
Oh shit! Easily. And then he typed to us.
Oh,
and it said, can double team no mo, like can double team no mo in all caps. I got so enraged.
Can double team no mo.
Something about it just enraged me when he beat us. Can double team no mo. And like I was seething. It was I was mad.
You definitely got farmed by a Korean kid.
Don't switch back. That's how mad
I believe it.
Oh my God.
Oh man. Yeah, we were so shitty when it came to StarCraft. But then we actually my buddy actually got his hands on like the legit game, right? And then we started like build our own custom maps and whatnot. And we did, of course, try doing the cheeky bit, like breaking the rules that you said, like all that kind of stuff, right? But then we cleaned up our act because it wasn't working anymore. It wasn't nearly as much fun. And there was like custom maps that we had. And so that was really fun for us to do. And whether it be against the PC, I prefer doing co-op against PC rather than going PvP.
Me too.
Like back then, I didn't like doing PvP, even though I engaged in a shitty way. But back then I was a little bit more tolerant, but I knew that. But by the time I got my hands on StarCraft, I was already like in junior high. So like grade 7 or 8 or something like that. And I was a younger teen, and my tolerance for doing anything remotely competitive in video games was like,
no, there wasn't. Yeah. The first time to experience PvP, like as a child thinking back, like in Dark Age of Camelot MMO where you do PvP.
Right.
It changes you.
The only real like PvP that I experienced when I was a kid was like in fighting games or in like race games,
but like online
that kind of stuff, big. Like the only other real like online
real competitive
like PvP stuff that I ever really did was MechWarrior 3,
RTS games like StarCraft.
No, StarCraft was like very minimal, but that still hits my list. Those StarCraft, even I guess Brood Wars. I did try PvP in Brood Wars a little bit.
Brood Wars, yeah,
that was
that's
so
what
good.
I played online.
MechWarrior, StarCraft, dude. That like I have no like. There's no other
Warcraft
online
3?
games. Oh yeah. Oh, I guess it's technically Warcraft, like World of Warcraft, because like I've done PvP in Warcraft, like at the beginning of seasons and stuff like that for gearing purposes.
Yeah.
But like it was literally me blowing all my cooldowns, trying to die as fast as I can so I can have the other person carry me.
Yeah.
And that's
getting camped in Stranglethorn Vale.
I never did any of that crazy
That was
stuff.
fun.
Fuck that. There's
It was the
war mode
Alliance
now.
that camped.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Yep.
But aside from that, like online PvP, like I just nope.
No,
I think I had my fill after MechWarrior 3, to be honest with you. Like that was when, because I actually tried to participate in tournaments, like online tournaments in MechWarrior 3. But man, I got farmed. Like, dude, I thought I was good. I thought I was legit good at MechWarrior 3. And even like amongst my clans that I was a part of, there's like 2 or 3 clans I was a part of during that time in a course of 2 years, 2 or 3 in a course of 2 years. And I thought I was pretty decent in all of them. But then I entered a fucking open tournament.
Yeah. You realize you're hot garbage.
And then I got absolutely demolished in the first round.
Yeah.
And what was even more infuriating is he swept me without me landing a single hit.
Yeah, I believe it. Like when I played
2
League.
rounds just wiped off the map.
Yeah. League of Legends is like that too. The competitive scene, you think you're good. We almost played League of Legends in Vegas on like you know how the pros go, like they're up on the stage in the big screen. There's this video game
fucked with that
place in a big arcade in one of the hotels. We almost did it because anyone could just kind of do it.
That's kind of cool.
And it was like a bar inside and everything.
That's dope.
Yeah. But we played one here locally at that on 3rd by Showcase. That VR place, it's closed now.
Yeah.
Whatever they were called.
Yeah.
So we had a league. We went to a league tournament there. I was so embarrassed. So embarrassed.
You got swept, eh?
It was horrible. Like you roll in,
Nothing like
your
humbled,
crew. I was embarrassed. We got smoked. Not even close.
How old were you?
Probably 30.
Oh shit.
Like I was, like it was league. It was league days. So anytime between 2016 or so, I was probably 30, 31. Yeah.
Because you're older, you thought you knew better because you have experience with playing other video games when you're built since the 90s.
Yeah.
And it makes me know a 12-year-old tells you otherwise. Let me show you how it's done there,
so
Junior.
embarrassing. And you're trying so hard and you know they're right behind you.
Oh, yeah.
And so competitive games for me, when I kind of was like, okay, I found out later than you. So I was in my 30s before online PvP, like no more.
No bueno.
No, it's not fun. No. Not at all.
Not for me. You have to be
very humbling.
You have to be a very, very certain kind of personality to really like engage with online PvP.
You do.
Like
it's a completely different offshoot of gaming. You know, it's like underground. Like it's hardcore.
Oh yeah.
Some of those games,
especially like when you're in like the fighting game community, for example.
Yeah, Evo is that the big fighting?
Yeah, the Evo tournament.
Another Nintendo real quick because they pulled out Smash Bros from that. But
I heard about that. Yeah. Trust me, because there's
it's not a fighting game.
There's one content creator I think you probably do know about because he hosts like Smash tournaments, like Mad Ludwig. Ever heard that name?
No, I don't. Maybe vaguely, but no.
He's the dude that I stole the concept of yoink and twist. He's the one that came up with it, but he's the one that came up with the terminology of yoink and twist.
Okay.
So yoink content twisted into something that suits yours. And so anyways, insanely prolific content creator, streamer, whatever. But anyways, he's hosted tournaments and has put in probably millions of dollars behind them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he can't do them. This is like just Nintendo. Nope, none of that shit will happen. Which
there was a dude online I saw.
You've watched Smash tournaments before, right?
Yeah, it's like ridiculous.
I don't even whether they're highlights or the full thing.
I've watched matches. Yeah,
madness. Yeah. Madness. I'm just watching it and I don't even want to like be in the same room.
It looks like they're glitching. They're so fast and good. Like it doesn't look proper. It doesn't look correct.
Especially when you're getting like you're getting into like Street Fighter and you're seeing them use like the board, using them use fighting boards.
Yeah.
Just wow.
I know
like,
whenever they're like, when you play the arcade, but these guys would have like, you knew if their fingers were in weird positions to hit the buttons, you're done. Don't even try.
Yeah, that's like
any tournament.
It's like it's always fascinating watching fighting guys like do it. The only thing that I dislike when it comes to watching like Evo, for example, or any kind of fighting tournament is when you're dealing with excessive mirror matches. And
the meta.
Yeah, when you're essentially seeing like 4 of the same characters on the screen, it's just like, no, that's boring. It's like when especially when both guys are so good that they know the most optimal combos to perform on those characters. And so when they try and literally execute the exact same combos on each other.
Yes.
And so mirror match by its literal definition sometimes, where you're seeing the exact same move sets. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm just kind of like, that's when I get bored.
In every fighting game you get that.
Yeah.
Like it's just the best characters. They're never balanced. Like, cause I don't know. I like to think they're not made for competitive in mind either.
At the beginning of the initial launch of all fighting games is when it's at its best, because no one's had a chance to figure out the meta. Everyone's still essentially kind of learning, and no one's ever seen it. See, right?
And that's why arcades were sweet. Showing up one day in just Mortal Kombat 2, no one's played. But there's a crowd and you don't know anything about it. Yeah, it's magic, and you don't get that.
Yeah, no,
you don't get that now.
Yeah, and so when you're catching, like for example, when Street Fighter 6 came out, like the first tournament for Street Fighter 6 for Evo is obviously going to be the more alluring one because no one has seen it, because it's the first time. Yes. The first time for things is always like the best or always has that spectacle and that nuance to it, right? Or what's that word I'm looking for? That novelty, right?
Yes, flavor of the month kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So at the beginning, that's when I would say that they're the most exciting, most prevalent, because you're not running into as many metas or mirror matches and stuff like that. You're actually seeing diversity in people's approach and gameplay and whatnot.
I've heard good things about 6.
I'm out of fighting games now. It's just like fighting games are not my jam anymore. It's just like you got to
play them online, because playing the computer is kind of boring.
That's my point.
But yet you don't want to play with people online because they'll do a infinite combo on you, or they'll quit.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's like fighting games. I've just outgrown them at this point, because I can't go back and like play them anymore. I just can't.
But if we had say, a couple people come over.
Oh, if I'm like just shooting,
and there's some fighting games, you throw some fighting games on. That's
to me
different. How they're meant to be played, with a group like that. And you pass the controller game.
Actually, I got a good story I want to tell you in regards to that. So actually, I have it all on my notes here. Actually, it ties right into that. Yeah, I'll tell you this story. You'll love it. This is so funny. So my buddy Mike, he loves boxing. He likes boxing games more specifically, right?
Yeah.
And while he was in college, I can't remember which fight night it was, but while he was in college, he played the living shit out of this one fight night game. I can't remember which one it was, where he told me this one story where he fought against this one guy online. He would only play online.
Yes.
And he ran into one dude that just utterly nuked him. Like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Like well over 100 times this guy's like farmed him, until one day he finally just got it. Right. And the dude just disappeared. You never see him again. He lost once. That was it. Anyways. So fast forward a few years later, where I would end up meeting him, and we'd end up working together, and we'd end up having our group of friends from the company we were working at together. And every weekend, after him and his then girlfriend bought their first house, every single weekend would be a party specifically to drink, smoke weed, and play video games. That is literally the recipe every weekend for like 2 years straight, was beer, weed, video games. And we played an obscene amount of Rock Band, but there was one night that he decided, nope, we're going to play Fight Night, and we're going to pass around the controller. So we're listening to music, pass around the controller, and Mike is just farming people. just fucking annihilating people. And he's a smug son of a bitch. He is so smug when he knows he's good. But you'll love this part because you'll love this because our one friend Tracy, like, she's absolute delight. She's funny she was so funny, but straight up, she's a gamer. Straight up gamer. She plays video games. Mika is like making the rounds. He's poking fun at people. I don't know what he said or what it was, but she kind of just looked at him, took a bond hit, put it down, blew it out, and said, "Controller, now." And just looked at him, and she locked in and then proceeded to beat the living shit out of him.
Did you blame the controller? Drift?
I don't know what it was, but like, she was also one of the people that was getting her ass kicked by him too, right? But there was just something in her where she was just like,
that killer instinct
not
kicked in.
This time. She just took that bond hit and then proceeded to lay the beat down on him in like 2 rounds. Had him
How'd
on
he react?
It was hilarious. He was just like, okay, hey, what's going on? What the fuck? What's happening? It's just like, it just slowly degraded and devolved while the entire room was erupted in laughter and cheering on for Tracy, being like, get him, fucking get him, get that son of a... Oh yeah, and Karma. She laid the beat down on him, and when he hit the mat, the whole room just erupted. And it was glorious. And what was even better was her reaction. She just, as soon as the match ended, she looked at him, put the controller down, took another bond hit. Game over.
Without missing a beat. Yeah.
That was awesome. That was such I will never forget that, because that was a cool moment.
Yeah. Fighting, like, you probably have older stories too of fighting game nights. And like when I grew up, I remember we had Street Fighter 3 time, the Capcom versus SNK 2. I don't know if you ever played that.
I played the arcade one because one of the B-rated video rental stores in that small town had that on arcade. There was 2 video rental stores in town at the time, and both of them had arcades. Not a lot of them, but some. One, the Video Cinema had Marvel X-Men versus Capcom.
Yep.
And the other one, the B-rate one, I can't remember what the name of it was, had that one, X-Men versus SMK. Yeah, and had that one. And I knew that the X-Men versus Street Fighter was my favorite one out of the 2, but my one buddy was really fucking good at the other one.
There's Marvel Superheroes too. Remember that one? It had Thanos, and you'd get the gems. And you'd like do the pop-up moves. It's like, Marvel versus Capcom now is what they call it. That style.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Marvel Superheroes. Those were good.
Was that the side-scroller adventure game?
No, it was a fighting game.
I'm thinking of like Infinity Wars.
Sure.
The Super Nintendo.
Right. Yeah.
War of the Gems. That's the one.
Yes. War of the Gems. Game, not that one, but this one's.
Yeah, I have War of the Gems.
Do you?
Yeah, I bought War of the Gems actually on eBay years and years back. This would have been like circa 2000, like back when I was working in finance. So this would have been like 2006, 2007. I had a hankering to play that game, and because I remember renting it back then. And I had the itch. I was just like, I remember that game, because I remember my friends and I we played the shit out of it because we rented it a lot. And I was like, man, I want to play that game again. And then I was actually at an age where I actually had I had my own money, I had my own credit card and stuff and whatever. And I was like, fuck, I'm just going to buy it. So I literally just bought the cartridge. I think it was like for $26 or something like that.
And it was a side scroller one, or was this a fighting game?
Yeah, it's a side scrolling game. Yeah, side scrolling game. Yeah. War of the Gems. It's really good. One of these days we'll have to bust open my Super Nintendo and I'll have to show you some of the old ones.
I'll download it too.
Yeah, it's really good. Hulk sucks, by the way. Be careful. Like,
does he?
Yeah, Hulk is not a
slow and
he's big
lumbering.
and slow. Like, there's a couple of fights where he's really good, but for the most part, he's a tough character to use. I didn't like him, but Wolverine is like my go-to. Wolverine, Spider-Man.
Sorry, really quick. There's a fighting game I'd completely forgot about that I remember renting.
Yeah.
Hit Fighter.
Oh shit.
Hit Fighter.
Oh, here, let's see.
I completely forgot about this.
Oh yeah, that was an old school arcade. Oh man.
Yeah.
I'll show some. I'll edit some pictures up of what it is, but this is what I'm looking at. God damn.
Yeah.
Hit Fighter. Hell yeah, dude. Man, that's a wow.
Yeah, I
wow.
forgot
That is literally I hadn't heard that the name of that game in like well over 20 years, man.
Yeah.
That's
See?
Crazy.
Unlocked memories.
I totally forgot that game even existed, man. Well done. Good job.
Yeah.
That was a good find.
There's weird fighting games. Like Primal, and they're not bad, but they're weird. Like the Primal Rages,
Primal Rage was
Clay
so good.
Fighter.
Clay Fighter was.
There was kind of some odd fighting games.
I'm trying to find Clay Fighter, whether it be for N64 or Super Nintendo. Dude, that game is not only rare, but it is ungodly expensive if you can find it.
You know what's the rarest of Clay Fighter is the Blockbuster exclusive version.
Right. Right. My buddy rented the Blockbuster exclusive.
Yeah.
And I remember
little
he
item
did.
now if he did.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that,
I'm pretty sure it was Clay Fighter. Yeah.
Pretty sure it was Clay Fighter too.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Without looking it up, I know we could look it up when we have the technology, but
yeah,
it's like I like trying to pull stuff from memory rather than like relying on stuff.
And correct me if I'm wrong. You know,
that would be no way, dude. And I sucked at those games too. Like Primal Rage was hard. Like that was a hard game.
Yeah, yeah. The computers cheated though in arcades because those really could read inputs because they were meant to eat your quarters.
Mm-hmm.
They were designed around that.
Yeah, their difficulty was definitely like cranked up higher than it.
You had to cheese the game. Like Mortal Kombat 2, you had to cheese to beat in the arcade, doing like the low kick nonsense.
Yeah, just spamming like the same stuff that actually works.
Yeah, it's like not how it's meant to be played at all.
Let's see. Yeah, I like that Fight Night story. That was like,
yeah, that's funny.
Deadpool Wolverine movie. Dude, okay, two things. One, what always fascinates me when it comes to like really, really popular trailers and whatnot is how many views gets accumulated in such little time.
Mm-hmm.
Like and what I always try and take them
Disney's
in like 6 hour
views.
Like 6 hour increments. I think it had like almost 10 million views in like less than 6 hours. I'm like,
oh, it's crazy. A lot's riding on this movie. It
really is actually.
He's got to carry the MC and Deadpool. Some of the things with Deadpool, I'm just like, okay. Like I think it's like a little much, a little overrated. You know, get out of here. But the movies are so good.
The movies are
amazing.
You can't
deny.
I love the movies so much.
They were good.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on this.
Yeah,
for sure.
But at the very least, we got X-Men 97. X-Men 97 has been really good.
Yeah.
I'm like said, I was telling them before, during the 2.0 version of this podcast, before his mic decided not to work anymore. X-Men 97, really good. Like I'm only 4 episodes in, and I think there's 5 episodes right now as of this recording.
7's out now.
7? Holy shit! Oh yeah, I'm behind.
6 or 7.
I'm slowly chipping away at it, but I've been so thoroughly impressed with it, and I know like people like kind of what you're saying about the animations. Like, yeah, it's not perfect. There's something about it
There's just something different about it that I wasn't used to, but now I am.
I got over the visual hump like fairly easily.
Yeah,
but that's only because all of the other elements was what was carrying it. Voice acting, the dialogue, the actual storytelling, not Magneto's costume.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. Horrible.
Fuck that costume, man. It's so shit. So
it's
junk.
the big M, I think. The colors, it just nothing about it
I
works.
do not like the colors. I saw it and I was just like, the colors are junk.
Just keep them in the red. Is it so they can make a new toy with that? You know, I don't know if they make toys anymore for the movie times. There's so many.
They will. Oh yeah, guaranteed.
So that's why they have these extra costumes. You know.
Oh yeah,
Honestly, it's a bad costume.
Honestly, both of them I'm looking forward to like getting more into, both Deadpool, Wolverine movie, and 97, because like I'm not deep into Marvel anymore. It's like I tried, but man, they squandered too many good things with it. Like in my eyes, like it's still art, and art is subjective, and everyone is entitled to what they like and what they don't like.
It's a genre of its own, kind of.
Very much so.
Yeah,
and it's very formulaic. It feels, and like there's not a whole lot of surprises anymore.
No, everything gets spoiled. Always.
Do you know what the big turning point for me was? This is
Spider-Man.
Again, back to like I'm not like very deep into Marvel. I have like very, very deep respect to the franchise, mostly because of its connection to my childhood. Because like I never did any of the comic book reading, but like the X-Men show, Spider-Man, all of that shit was like that shit influenced my childhood, man. Like that's part of my childhood.
The characters.
Oh yeah, I knew the characters, and I know the characters and all that, right? So it's like it's just part of my childhood. But with that being said, one of my turning points where I immediately went from being like Marvel is okay to like you guys fucked up was actually with WandaVision.
That set the tone. I didn't mind the show.
Sorry, the WandaVision, the show was decent. It was the fucking movie. Doctor Strange with
that was disappointing.
And
that
like
really was.
Multiverse of Madness.
Fuck
that movie.
And they spoiled Xavier in it in the trailer because they show his wheelchair. Save that for the movie. But they needed something to make people go.
That trailer, actually, that movie and its trailers
advertising
was one of the reasons I decided to never watch another trailer ever again. And Deadpool Wolverine movie is lucky I even watched that trailer, because I was even debating not watching that trailer because I'm so like anti-trailer now. The only time I'll ever really watch trailers anymore is for games. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that is it. I don't watch trailers for shows. I don't watch trailers for movies. I don't watch trailers for fucking nothing.
Yeah.
But Deadpool Wolverine is the only one that caught my attention. Just serendipitously, where I'm just kind of like, whatever, we'll see. I'm like, oh shit, it was actually like a decent trailer.
A pretty good trailer.
Yeah, where I was kind of like, I'm like, okay, well, it got my attention.
The Madonna song. It was great, that trailer. Yeah. The Spider-Man fight scene recreation, which I didn't notice. I saw it online.
Yeah, I saw the side by side. Yeah, I thought it was just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
And the shirtless or the sleeveless Wolverine too.
That with the yellow.
That was my one thing. I'm like, the sleeves, I don't really like. But then he had the and now we're going to see the mask. Better. The scene where they're walking, kind of, and it's both of them. I guarantee at that point he has the mask. But for the trailer, it's different. Like Hulk running in Infinity War, but he's not there.
Yep.
So that'll be the big, like the Avengers in a circle. You know, in the first one, that'll be the shot.
Oh yeah,
the memorable shot of the movie.
Yeah. When it came to, and like why I guess part of the reason why I like such a visceral reaction to like the other Doctor Strange movie with Wanda in it was because of how they squandered Wanda. Mm-hmm. Because they just they literally reduced Scarlet Witch down to just a desperate mommy wannabe.
It was forced.
It was so forced. Like,
it was just kind of sudden for her character. I don't know, is because she had like the dark hold or whatever.
I'm not sure, but like I guess like it was like that whole push like towards that paternal just being paternally driven, even though she was fully capable of manifesting her own children, herself,
or going to a universe where she had died.
Yeah, or even that. But no, let's go into another universe and actually ruin the life of another version of me that's perfectly happy and capable and healthy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. They squandered the fuck out of that character so hard that like I hated that movie because of how they squandered that character.
Well, yeah, and it was disappointing.
It was so
the
disappointing.
Illuminati, and they just like that was really.
I was just like,
that was false advertising to me.
As soon as I saw, as soon as that happened, it wasn't even shocking. I was just like, well, that's stupid. Like I wasn't even shocked. I was just like, well, that's dumb.
They're trying. Marvel is, and I'm kind of worried about it. And Deadpool's doing it too. They're relying on cameos and legacy roles. You know, like Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman. They're bringing everyone back. Batman, The Flash did it. Everyone's doing it. You know, and that's what they have to rely on to get people to go. I guess that's where Marvel's at now. But like Spider-Man No Way Home, this controversial maybe. If it didn't have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, would it be as good?
Fuck no.
And if it just had the villains from the other universes?
Fuck no. Would have been nearly.
That's why people
would have been total dog shit.
Were at the theater. It was a good movie. I'm not saying, but,
all right.
But that was, you know what I mean? They have to carry the box office with cameos, which I don't really like.
That is true.
You know, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine though. He's a league of his own for sure. But
can't deny that.
I just don't how they're. You know what I mean? Marvel used to do cameos really well, more subtle. Like they'd hint, like, oh, the guy, you know, a little Easter egg about a movie coming up. Like,
I know exactly
it was subtle and in the nudge moments, you know, like, oh, right? They had that.
But now it's too blatant.
Yeah, it's
very literally in your face.
It's very commercial, very corporate. It's phony, you know. Like Ryan Reynolds what if it blows? What if? Like it might. I don't think so because the actors alone. And Ryan Reynolds, the others have been good. But what if?
I hope not, but yeah.
And then at the same time, if it's peak and it's amazing, well, what then, Marvel? Falls in your court after that. Because if it's really good, it's like almost how you said if you get too many views, it's like, oh, what now?
Yeah,
well, when they hit $1 billion with this movie, like they're going to be saying, now what? You know, they're running out of tricks.
Did you, speaking of What If, did you ever watch the What If series?
I watched season 1 and I really did not enjoy it.
No? Really?
No, I found it.
No, I
thought it was bad. I thought it
Damn
was.
It was. I'm definitely alone in this because I loved it.
It was not for me, and I feel the weekly episode release hurt it because you'd wait every week.
That nonsense. Fuck that noise. I wait till it's all out and then I burn it.
See, and that's how that show should have been released.
Yep, I agree.
You know, and they for whatever reason decided to do weekly, well, so they can keep you subscribed. But had it all been able to be watched at once, it would have been better. Like, I'm looking forward to the show in the first episode's Captain Carter. Kind of lame. There's a couple episodes, but yeah, and Thanos got sliced in half. He sucked in What If. It was just, I didn't like it.
No,
I didn't like it.
It was an interesting experiment at the very least, is what I kind of took away from it.
Season 2 even.
I'm going to get around to it eventually, but right now, like X-Men 97 has been getting me like well occupied as far as like cartoon content is concerned.
How many episodes is it going to be?
I'm not sure. I didn't look that deep into it.
Yeah.
Like I all I know is that if I had to render a guess, probably at least 10, at least.
Already longer than Moon Knight.
Oh shit! Yeah,
and
I guess
Falcon
so.
and Winter Soldier, which was affected by COVID.
Yeah, I get
Falcon,
that.
But Moon Knight, 6 episodes. I don't know. There's no main characters now. You know, like there was Tony and Cap, and there was like the core. They're all over the place. There's no coherence.
Yes. Well put. Yep.
Multiverse, though. It's like, yeah, but they still are building toward Kang. They're building toward the same thing. So then shouldn't they kind of work together? There's no nudge moments. It's lost its heart for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So hopefully this brings it back.
See, in my opinion, now we both agree that like DC movies, like live action DC movies, are dog shit for the most part.
Snyderverse. which people still want to come back. Like, it's not happening.
No, but aside from that, like the live action movies, like they're pretty mid for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
But Warner Bros. Animation.
Oh yeah, they've always been better than Marvel.
Oh, like that is the shit.
Yeah.
Warner Bros. Animation.
They've released some duds lately, though. I've heard, like, The Killing Joke, I guess, was disappointing.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't too bad.
I loved that comic, Killing Joke. So when I heard it was bad, I haven't watched it.
Oh, I watched it. I thought it was pretty decent. I enjoyed it still. But like that kind of brings me to my next point, is that like the Warner Bros. Animation cartoon movies, they're so good, and I like those infinitely more than any of the live action. Like, I will go back and I will rewatch the Warner Bros. Animations like countless times.
Yeah, that's what DC should have concentrated on, is do a MCU but all animated or something. That would have been cool. I
hope that X-Men 97, I hope, will act as the catalyst to go in more in that direction for Marvel.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I hope they start translating more of their IP into like animation, cartoon format, comic book-esque format rather than live action.
Well, yeah.
Because I think you can get way deeper, way more in-depth storytelling in that format, and it'll be fucking cheaper, in my opinion, because you're not paying like AAA like great actors in order to.
But all these animators and everything, it's its own beast.
Oh yeah. But like when you get
to recast,
and like you have voice acting and you got animators that have to like essentially do both. I guess saying that is cheaper would be a bit of a stretch, but in my opinion, I think there's just more cool stuff that you can do visually than that I think would be more practical. Not practical. That would be more better executed in a more cartoon format rather than live action.
Yeah. Well, and some of these are like cartoons now, like Ant-Man and. Did you see Ant-Man Quantumania?
Fuck no, absolutely not. And I will not.
That, to me, Marvel has had some good stuff recently, though. Like Guardians 3, Black Panther 2. I haven't watched, but I hear it's good. Like, there are good ones.
I want to watch Black Panther 2. I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either. But yeah, I just don't know with them right now. Ant-Man was. It did, and this isn't my joke, but it did look like Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Like the CG, it was so fake looking, and obviously it's fake. Yeah, I know, but it's fake. It looked horrible. And MODOK, did you see what MODOK looked like in the movie?
I want to say
you know the character probably.
Yeah, I know who MODOK is. Oh yeah, he farmed my ass in Marvel vs. Capcom enough times. I know who he is.
Yeah, he's kind of cool, right?
Yeah,
you can see. Let me show you.
But like, I think I came across screenshots of him.
I'm going to show you again anyway.
Yeah. Oh God, you're going to scar me, aren't you?
And this was a poster. This was a poster. So there's that before I show it.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Yeah, I've seen that. I thought that was a meme.
So it is.
Yeah, I thought that was a fucking meme, dude.
It is. It is.
That's so garbage. Yeah, I remember this.
And it was just so many things about that movie. And Kang, spoiler, he was killed by ants.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I know people
hearing about that.
Thinking, oh, well,
whatever.
There's millions of Kangs. Yeah, I know. But it was Kang the Conqueror they used in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And he's like the main Kang in Marvel. And he died by ants. And then Jonathan Majors is, he was sentenced to 1 year of
I heard about
something.
that.
So I don't know what they're going to do. So Deadpool better be good.
Yeah,
I think it will be.
I think just Marvel just needs to go into the cartoon realm deeper, and that's just my opinion though. But anyways, let's see if we can get a couple more things in here, because like I said, we had some really good conversations in that first half too. And
this one might just be shorter.
It will, but well, yeah, because like we were already an hour and 15 minutes in. Oh yeah, when I got everything all edited down, it went down to exactly what I wanted, an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and so it went from like an hour 45 down to an hour and 30, just because we had all that tech issues that we had last time.
At least 45. No, an hour. You want more.
Minimum an hour.
Minimum, for what the finished product is, I mean.
Oh yeah. So
right?
like at the minimum an hour, like to like hash things out and then go a little bit over just so that way I have a little bit of little wiggle room to edit and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like as far as like the length of it goes, is I don't want to be, because we could easily draw this out for like 2-3 hours, like no problem at all. And but at the same time, it's just like we shouldn't, just because, well, one, I want to leave enough room for conversation amongst like people that who want to engage and whatnot. But also there's always stuff that's happening literally every week. Something is going on.
Yeah,
and so
every
there's
day.
always something to talk about.
Yeah.
So I'm never worried about like with having lack of shit to talk about. Because one of the things I thought was really interesting as well that I threw on there that I wanted to touch on was the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. They approved the ban on non-compete clauses for new
I don't get
and
this.
existing.
What is? I don't explain like I'm 5.
Explain like you're 5.
Yeah, because I don't really get it.
What will happen with a lot of AAA devs when they leave a studio is that, or when they get hired on, that at the time that they leave a company, and this is just I'm just generalizing as far as what a non-compete clause is. Essentially, you're not,
like they can't work for another company for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So like Blizzard, for example, is one of those companies that's really, really prolific when it comes to non-compete clauses, where
you should just be able to go and
where you can't, because you might have trade secrets, so therefore you have to wait for enough time to lapse.
90 days will stop that. You know,
so,
like, come on.
So essentially what the reasoning, or rather what the rationale as to why there's even non-compete clauses is, let's say an employee has worked at a company for X amount of time, let's say 10 years or whatever. And during that 10 years, they had acquired knowledge and skills that's centric to their IP in that company.
Yeah.
And let's say that person decides to either retire, quit, whatever, especially if it's on bad terms. Those non-compete clauses are put in place to prevent that individual from divulging anything that they learned to a potential competitor.
Yeah.
So that's why they put time lapses in place, like let's say 1-2 years, to give enough time for that project to either get completed, to be released, or to be out in the public.
So what are people supposed to do with that then? Does Blizzard pay for their...
Nah,
you know what I... Right?
Of course not.
Of course not.
So there's just... So if they're found to be working for a company in that industry, they're against their non-compete.
Yeah, so what are they supposed to do? That's their livelihood.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
That's exactly what...
That's ridiculous.
That's exactly what it's been like this whole time.
The problem with games in these big AAA studios, they're a problem. It's horrible industry.
So now what this does is, now this allows devs who had worked in AAA studios, or who had worked in studios that actively had non-compete clauses. It allows them to be able to jump ship and go to somewhere immediately. So what'll happen, what you'll see is, you're going to see a lot of devs from from legacy studios pop up and start making stuff again. That's why I have it on here saying that AAA devs are no longer creatively restricted as a result of that.
Yes.
Because now they actually have the freedom to not only be able to pick what project they go on, they can pick who they can work with at any point in time. So if let's say a current Blizzard employee who had signed a non-complete clause when they were hired, they are now free to jump ship immediately and go to, let's say, Riot, who is their competitor,
be able to.
And who actually not only is Riot their direct competitor, their headquarters is literally down the street from Blizzard's.
Yeah.
So they down the fucking street. And so now people can literally go immediately rather than having to wait out their clause.
Well, yeah, you should be good to your employees. Maybe they'll want to stay then. Huh.
Mystery.
They have a stranglehold on their workers.
And this brings me to my next point as well that I had on here, is that the Embracer Group is essentially a big company that has been in the process for the past 5-6 years of acquiring studios like mad. They have access and ownership to IPs. Like their IP reach is vast.
Yeah.
And they have spent an ungodly amount of money doing acquisitions. And as a result of those acquisitions, they fucking do mass layoffs. The CEO recently was saying, what the fuck did he recently say? I thought this was fucking cute. And so I think I made a tweet of some kind because I'm an idiot. And where are you?
God, Nintendo makes good games.
There it is.
I'm sorry, but they do.
So the CEO had said, as a leader and an owner, sometimes you need to take the blame and you need to be humble about if you've made mistakes and if you could have done something differently. And I'm like, no, you fucking twit. Not sometimes, all the time.
Yes.
If you're owner, CEO, leader, you take blame for everything.
Yeah.
The whole shebang.
Well, you're
all
in
of it.
charge.
If someone else fucked up, who hired that person?
Yes.
Who hired the person that hired that person? It's your fucking fault.
Exactly.
Whether you like it or not. Because Gary Vaynerchuk speaks to a lot of this as well. And this is something that one of the things that he had said, where as soon as he said it, I'm like, not only have I heard it before, but I completely agree with it, is that exact thing, is that as an owner and leader, you're responsible for everything. And that not only do you take blame for everything, you also can't be the one to take praise for when things go right.
Yes.
Because
that doesn't happen.
Those accolades belong to the people that execute.
Yeah, of course.
It's terrible, but that's what, in my opinion, is part of being a leader and a proper CEO. It has to be a thankless job.
Yeah, for that kind of money. Especially.
Like, sorry, but like your role is to take the hit. You have to be the punching bag for both investors and from the user base.
A lot of companies go through a lot of CEOs. You're always seeing like, oh, now there's new.
They're generally the fall guy. Like CEOs are generally the fall guys when shit really gets bad and investors get involved where they're starting to pull funding. CEOs are the fall guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like ultimately, and that's where the whole concept of being a good leader comes into play, where things like that don't happen because you're treating people like people and not robots.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I wanted to slip that in there because I thought that was just so lame for him to say. Like sometimes, like no, dude, it's like you fucked up, you overreached, and now you have to lay a shit ton of people off. Good job.
Yeah,
it's your fault. Period.
Yeah.
No one else. Pure and simple.
No.
And like
never.
We have so much experience in that area, sadly, in terms of like just poor leadership. And people just not taking accountability or responsibility for themselves.
Yeah.
We dealt with that
across
together
my
for
entire
2 years.
life.
Oh yeah.
You know. So
I just get exhausted by like hearing stuff like that. I'm just like, my God, man, why do bad companies have to constantly succeed?
They're doing something right financially, like
they just helping the investors make money
and cutting your employees, save on benefits. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
most of it's labor.
Dude, there was a time where I thought about the allure of working in the games industry. And like, if I had to choose one, like, dude, QC was one of those roles where I legit thought I would have kicked ass at, because
I hear that's terrible though.
Oh, it's so bad.
And they're treated like garbage. So not even invited to Christmas parties.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah. Some people's stories are not invited to staff events or anything like that.
I'm not surprised. I'm so not surprised.
Right? Terrible.
I've heard so many bad.
We just get to play games all day. It's not what you think.
The now former president of Blizzard, Mike Ybarra, he's even said at one point in time, he's just, I'm paraphrasing, but it says something to the effect of a QC is not a legit career path in this industry or something to that bullshit degree.
It's not. They're
not
paid
anymore.
Well.
When you got assholes like that in charge, of course they can't, because they squelch that talent.
Yeah, and then games come out unfinished.
unfinished, just broken.
And people buy them. Yeah, and they charge you $90 for early access, basically, so they can just get their money first. The game's not even done.
Unless it's Star Wars Outlaws and it's $130 American.
And like these companies are, oh yay, the game's good now. It's sure, that's great. But it shouldn't be good years later. But they do really redeem themselves. A lot of companies would never go back to a game and make it good. So it is respectable that they admitted their mistakes. You know, Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky. Yeah, there's been a couple others. Cyberpunk
was fucking
big
huge.
one. That's the one. Huge.
Like, yeah,
should have never been released on PS4 either.
Should never. Like, after like sinking about 200 hours into it now, it's like, that's not a game that's suitable for PS4, dude.
Doesn't run. It didn't run properly.
Like, if it's like more optimized now and it actually like functions, like, sure, but no, man, like that, no.
Even now, it's not the optimal way to play Cyberpunk, the PS4 version. It's like you may as well play a Switch version of a port.
Yeah, I know. At that point, like it's so much better on PC now. There's no reason not to play it on PC unless you're an exclusive like console handy, which whatever. If you are, you are. No big deal. Experience the games, however, by whatever means you have available to you. So like no judgment on that part. But if you're in a fortunate position where you can choose what platform, whether it be on console or PC to play that game, 1000% PC.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I haven't played it, but of course, yeah.
I can't wait for that. Yeah, I can't wait for the day when you start playing that game.
It's on a good enough sale. It's still $80, which I mean, it's new, but still $80. Even half price, I'm like, eh.
Hell, I might even like just gift it to you for your birthday or some bullshit.
No.
Well,
I'll wait till it's.
Fuck it. You won't even have a choice. I'll just do it, and you just have to just take it. You just take it like a bitch. Either way, like, can't wait for you to play that game because that game is absolutely
I want to play
ripping.
it before it's too old.
So it doesn't matter. No,
like it pulls a new Vegas on me. You know,
this is Cyberpunk is easily a game that you can go back to like 10 years from now and still enjoy the fuck out of it easily.
It'll be Cyberpunk 2.
Just no different than Fallout right now. Like Fallout has a huge resurgence, and like
that's amazing,
dude. I have that itch to play Fallout 4. I really, really do. Hell, I almost have the itch to play Fallout 76. Almost.
Fallout 4 is in VR on Steam.
Oh shit!
But I don't, and I do want to play it in VR. So I think I might wait. But the PSVR 2 is rumored that they're making it compatible with Windows. So I'm still holding out that small hope
because your unit
that's true.
If they do that, if they make it so that VR2 is compatible on Steam, like
game changer.
Your computer will definitely be able to handle it.
Of course, that's what I mean. It's like let's go.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad I built you the unit that I did. Fuck
they
yeah.
removed some sort of software blocker or something. I don't get the jargon. That would normally make it work on a PC. So it's like they're kind of building toward it because the sales are not good. They basically killed the content. There's almost no new releases, no announcements, no big AAA games that are using it.
When it was released, when we were working, because we worked on electronics store.
The same stuff.
Yeah, it's like when we were working, because we were working in a warehouse and electronics store, and when we got PSVR 2s in, they did not sell. We were not pushing many units. We were lucky to push like 1 or 2 a week. Like when they first came out, it was bad.
And it's been out came out February of 23.
I think so.
And we have Gran Turismo, No Man's Sky, Resident Evil 7 and 8. And that's great. That's a lot of content.
That Iron Man.
But on a $700 headset, only compatible with the PlayStation, and they've announced nothing new.
That's wild.
Like that's from a big first party game, the Horizon game they had, but they've just quit supporting it. So
that's so wild to me that they would like they would put so much time and effort and money into that technology, and not to mention for how fucking expensive it is, and then they just drop it. Like they don't do anything with it. Like,
and they did this with the VR1. They did the
exact same thing.
And now they're doing it again, and I will not buy a third one.
Fuck no.
Unless it works on PC But when there's ones like MetaQuest out that are a pretty good price for what they are, and they're standalone, you can do so much more than game on them.
My buddy
you can only game on that.
Yeah, my buddy ended up getting his kid a MetaQuest 3, and he was just like, damn, dude. He was like, that was one of the best decisions I ever made.
It's amazing.
Yeah, he was mind blown. He was just like, dude, the 2 is a piece of shit. He's like, I think that it was 2. Yeah. He's like, dude, the 2 is a piece of shit in comparison. Like,
yeah, it's night and day. I really want to try the 3. Really do. But yeah, if they've lost my trust.
Damn.
In terms of their VR.
That sucks. Yeah. That's too bad. They had a perfectly perfect demographic user candidate in this man right here, and they fucking squandered it.
Yeah, like
that's such a shame.
I'm a VR enthusiast, I'd say. I don't have all the experience with tons of games, but I love it. Like, I'm a firm believer in VR. And the games they have are amazing. Like, they're great. Gran Turismo. Oh my God. I
can't wait. Like, see, again, I'm going to play that game, and we will set up a time, like a time date, maybe this summer. I'm hoping maybe this summer we can fuck around with like more React contact. More React content and whatnot. Like, because I do want to get into like React content, like not React in terms of like watching YouTube videos and React like that kind of React.
Yes.
No, React as in like reacted
first experiences with the game or reactions, piece of technology.
Yeah. I want to get into like first reaction experiences because there is so much shit that I've not experienced in nerd culture, whether it be in gaming, anime, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of things that I've missed or been out of the loop or haven't had the time to put into because of opportunity cost or being an adult, just like having to work all the time and whatnot, right? Where you have to cherry pick and choose your games and whatnot. So for example, like, do you want to know how many people would be absolutely outraged for me to sit here, talk about like how I like playing difficult games, put games on hard difficulty, and then I could say in the same breath, I've not played a single Dark Souls game.
Yeah.
You wonder how outraged people would be to hear that?
Oh yeah.
And it's just straight up.
You wouldn't necessarily like them just because they're difficult either. Who knows?
Or do
you think you would like them?
Oh yeah, I probably would like them. My biggest thing is that I cherry pick my games so much that other games that are deemed more interesting to me just come forward.
Well, we don't have time like when we're 12 years old to play every new release.
See, if I got back into streaming, back into like the streaming conversation again, if I got back into streaming, that would be like the perfect opportunity to go into those games and really experience it fresh, like actually fresh, and try and get through it and actually like beat them.
Yeah.
Because there's two factors to that. One, there's like the emotional maturity control element to it that you essentially have to deploy as a result of openly playing games in a public setting. Because I'm not a fucking lunatic when games don't go my way. It's like, yeah, I swear and cuss and I get pissed off, and like I don't get into like a violent rage of fit, or sorry, into a fit of violent rage.
Mostly, the drywall punch.
That or like just breaking your equipment, just because like when you don't have a whole lot of money to deal with, it's like you preserve the shit that you have, so you try not to break your shit. And so and I don't want to come off as being a complete like raging lunatic, and so that's where you have to like kind of really keep yourself in check.
That's why PvP. Back to that real quick. That's like
exactly. PvP is one of those things where it would literally tip me over that edge.
Yeah, it's
almost instantly.
Instant, yes. I could go on.
When I'm getting into like single player experiences, like your Dark Souls, Elden Ring, or whatever single player game, that's when I can actually like breathe and dial it back. And if anything, that part of getting into streaming, in my opinion, is actually kind of healthy because it forces me to stop, think, and really like internalize my next thought, my next action, and just being careful of how that would be perceived.
Yeah.
Not to put on like a fake act or anything like that, because I don't want to come off as being insanely off-putting or potentially attract the kind of audience that I don't want to attract as a result of like that kind of behavior. And so from that angle, that's where I think streaming would benefit me from like a personality standpoint, as far as like improving the way in which I talk, communicate, storytell, all that kind of thing, but also helps me regulate emotionally regulate me as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's, I don't know where I was getting on in that particular tangent, but that's kind of like where I believe it could be utilized as a form of self-improvement rather than a means of trying to
get diamond ranking, you know, like,
or just a means of like trying to earn a living and trying to trying to like get rich or trying to make a living off of just playing video games. Like as much as I would love to say that I would love to earn a career playing video games, it's naive, but at the same time, it's not me. There would have to be layers to it.
Yeah.
Rather than just
everyone
playing
and their
video
dog
games.
wants to do it. You know, who wouldn't want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, hard to explain. But at the same time, one of the things that tipped me off, or that kind of made me give pause and really think about it, is when I was listening to Steak and Eggs podcast and the one host Tectone. They were all discussing how there's no interesting content on Twitch right now, and there's kind of for lack of a better term, they didn't say this, but I'm paraphrasing. But essentially, there's a dry spell in good content on Twitch right now, is what they
Not enough
feel.
bathwater being sold. That's the secret.
That story was wild when it first popped.
Yeah.
But anyways, when they said that, I didn't sit there and think to myself, oh, well, I'm not going to try because I can't fill those particular shoes or that particular void. But I found myself more in agreeing, because I always watch like the same 5 or 6 streamers on Twitch, and like that's it. And I found myself agreeing, being like, no, I think they're right. As far as like finding like fresh, like good, exciting new content outside of like the OTK organization, there's not a fuck of a lot as far as like things that would draw me as being inspirational or interested in. And so I kind of got thinking, I'm like, how would I shake it up? And I don't have an answer to that, but it gets me thinking. I may not come up with the right answer every time, but I'm hoping at the very least, in search of those answers, it will at least make me somewhat smarter.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of engaging my brain in that kind of way and be like, if they are right, or they are right, what can I do as an individual to help improve and change that opinion? Not so much for myself, yes, because the whole point of streaming and whatnot is to self-brand and promote yourself. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of where my brain ultimately went. But also I enjoyed it, but just my computer kind of sucks right now, and I don't dare try and push that.
Buy a new one.
I just need a new CPU is all I need. I just need the same CPU as what I stuck in your unit. That's all I need.
Why not do it?
I don't have the money for it. Yeah, eventually I will.
A little thing called Bearstone.
God no, I will. God,
Bearstone.
I am debt free, and I want to keep it that way. I don't want to owe people anything. I don't want to owe companies anymore.
No. For
one of the rare times in my adult life, actually, for the first time in my adult life, as of like, I don't know, about a year now, almost a year, I have zero fucking debt except for my student loans.
Nice, right?
Student loans is kind of like whatever. Like I have that on.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah,
who doesn't have that?
I have like $7 or $8 grand left, and right now I have that on pause just because like I can't afford it right now. But aside from that, like I don't owe anyone anything. No. It's awesome. That's amazing. I love to keep it that way.
Amazing.
And just like keeping the spending down to only what I know I can afford. A brand new CPU in my unit is not one of those things. It's like for the time being, what's in there will have to suffice.
Yeah.
If I do pull the trigger on streaming, I would end up like nuking the quality on it, just so that way the performance wouldn't suffer so bad. Because I would run into FPS issues like mad.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
Straight up. Anyways, man, I talked a lot this episode. I was really sorry, man. Like, I need to give you more screen time. Like,
no, I
God damn.
Got Ninja Jajamaru.
Dude, Ninja Jajamaru is like, that's a wicked game. Like, I loved seeing that. That was so nostalgic.
Where that came from. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll play the NES one too.
Yeah, make sure you, like, when you do go back and you play your old games, like, do record that shit, because I love watching that old stuff.
Yeah.
And like, especially if you get into like Streets of Rage, like on Genesis and whatnot. Yeah.
Really quick, but I think I've told you for another time. How hardcore I am with Streets of Rage 4 with my cousin.
Oh, right.
Like, I've been top 10 on like the hardest stages, hardest difficulties.
On like the arcades and stuff like that, when you're like point farming.
4 is only for consoles, but like, well, no hit combos in co-op, 2-player co-op, no hit combos. If we get hit, we start.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So that's for another. Streets of Rage.
Next week I'll pick your brain on that, because like, I played Streets of Rage a lot at my cousin's when I was a kid, because we never had a Genesis growing up, and I always ended up playing Genesis games secondhand. Completely. Yeah. Like, I remember one of the most enraging Genesis games I played was Jurassic Park, hands down. Super Nintendo's Jurassic Park.
The one where you're in the car at the beginning?
I think
the first level, Jurassic Park?
I'm pretty sure that's the one. But I also came from like thinking, oh, this is going to play kind of similar to the Super Nintendo one. Fuck no, it was way harder. Genesis one was way harder than the Super Nintendo one. Let me tell you, holy crap. So anyways, I'll have to tell you those stories, but next week I'll have to remind you of Streets of Rage, because I want to hear more about that nonsense.
Maybe I'll get some footage.
Please do.
Streets of Rage 4 is on Steam.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. It came out in 2020.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Good. Very good.
Yeah, you'll have to record footage. You'll have to show me, and then I'll have to pick your brain about it next week.
Well, there's lots. I could whole show Streets of Rage.
Yeah. And then next week for me, I am going to Calgary on Tuesday for a concert on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to go see Amon Amarth, Cannibal Corpse, and Obituary for the, what the hell did they name that tour? I can't remember the name of that tour. It's like, I should know this. I like been seeing their stuff being blasted like all over the place.
All over your algorithm.
Yeah, man. It's like Metal Crush's All Tour. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought, either way. And I can't remember who the opener is. There's a fourth band that's on the list. Frozen Soul. That's who it was. Yeah, they're from Texas. Oh yeah. I don't know of Frozen Soul. Like, I know of them, but I've never listened to any of their stuff. So
they're the first to go on.
Yeah, they're the
they go to the bathroom and get a drink opener.
No, I never miss openers. Yeah, I watch every single band. It's like I'm going specifically for the openers technically, because I'm going for the music. Because I'm going technically for Obituary, because I've seen Cannibal Corpse a couple times now. This will be my second time. Amon Amarth, this is like my fifth time, but I've never seen Obituary and I've never seen Frozen Soul. So I'm always excited to see bands I've never seen before, and fair. I will never miss an opening band ever. Unless, of course, they're like a band that I just very much dislike. Yeah. But aside from that. And then the next day on Wednesday, I'm going to switch gears from metal and go to rock, and I'm going to go see Dave Matthews. And that's going to be over at the Palace. And I love the Palace. I love that venue, but I do not know Dave Matthews whatsoever in terms of his music. That is all my wife.
Either. No.
Yeah. Like, I've heard his stuff on the radio just because that's where we live and we hear his stuff from time to time, but I don't know his music at all. That's my wife's thing. But either way, going to Calgary for a couple of shows. Stoked for that. And I try not to touch too much on music on this channel. I'm going to try not to, but I can get like,
it slips in
balls deep into music, and if I wanted to, but yeah, otherwise I try not to, because because I get into like nerd territory where it just
Right.
I was gonna end up just spewing shit at you that just makes no sense. Which, like, don't get me wrong, it's like I made you suffer through my music just listening to it while working in the warehouse. I don't need you to like listen to all the fucking lore behind it all.
Well, I did.
You did some of it, yeah. Until yeah. But anyways, do you want to wrap it up? We're technically like an hour and 40 minutes in, but like this, I'm gonna trim this guy down.
I think it's right on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's right on time.
Any last thoughts? Any?
No, I'm excited to talk about Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
I had no
Ninja
idea it's
Jajamaru
on.
progress. Mine will be a chronicle each week of the newest retro kind of throwback I did or something, you know.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I
Like a
would
little
definitely
something
want
to
you
look
to do
forward
that.
to. Retro kind of minute.
Yeah, one of
Hot
these.
minute.
I need to get my ass on finding a retro game to record and show you as well. I need to.
ActRaiser.
I will eventually. Like that, man. I don't know why I put that off for so much and so long, but I'll get around to it eventually.
Good.
But either way. All right, so we'll wrap up this episode. This is episode 2. So if
2.5.
2.1,
2.1, whatever,
or
yeah.
whatever we want to call it. It's not the original one because the first half, 35, 40 minutes got fucking completely scrubbed. Anyways, again, every week it's going to be a little bit janky. We're trying our best to try and do it every week and to do it with as least technical issues as humanly possible.
What'll it be next week?
What it'll be next week, I'm not sure. But either way, thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below as to what you want to hear from us. And if you have any other questions, if you want to know anything about us in terms of our shenanigans and bantering, or if you have any topic suggestions, throw them our way. And I guarantee you we'll try and slip them in as best we can.
Name a
Anyways,
retro game. and
even
we'll
retro
play it.
games, like if you have any...
Pick one, I'll play it.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
Yeah.
actually a good idea. Yeah, pick a retro game and make this guy play it. Oh,
Yeah.
I like it. It's actually not a bad idea.
For 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours.
Just record it all and see what happens.
Unless I really like it, then we'll go further.
And you're ballsy.
Yeah.
You're way ballsier than me. All right, episode 2 wrapped up. I'm Zethus.
Bubbazoom.
That's my boy Bubbazoom, and we'll see you again next week, everyone. Take it easy.